Staying off property at Disneyland, sometimes it is the perfect choice, and we know exactly when and why. Welcome back to Earstravagant Adventures. I'm your host, Rachel, and travel agent Bestie, along with Katie. I think you're over here.
Hi.
Fellow travel agent and Disney fanatic. Today, we are deep diving into Disney's Good Neighbor Hotels, Disneyland's Good Neighbor Hotels, those hidden gems that give you Disney perks with added convenience and flexibility, from what exactly makes a good neighbor hotel status to which ones we're absolutely obsessed with. We're spilling all our insider secrets and showing you how to maximize your Disneyland magic with these carefully selected, truly, hotel partners.
Yes.
But first, thank you to our sponsor, Alonzi Travel, the ultimate family theme park experts. Planning theme park trips can be overwhelming, but Alonzi Travel is here to make it stress-free. With our years of experience, we're your lightning lane to hassle-free travel. We handle all the details, allowing you to focus on having fun with your loved ones. Whether you dream of Hogwarts or Disneyland, we've got it covered, tailoring the trip to your family's needs. Visit alonzi-travel.com/. Take the trip for a magical adventure.
Very good.
Yay!
Very
Did it today.
good. Yes, you did it. You sounded like a robot, but you got through it.
You know, this lingering garbage is just making
Mm.
my brain horrible. So sometimes, sorry, listeners, viewers, I'm
Well,
trying.
it's probably going to get worse because the Sahara dust clouds coming in. Or did it already come in? I don't go outside unless I'm going on vacation.
Well, I don't think we're gonna get it because we have like rain all week.
Oh, well, that's lucky.
Yeah,
That's
like
lucky.
somebody posted on in the Woodlands Facebook that they had like not tennis ball, golf ball size hail
Oh,
yesterday. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You know what you're
Whew.
not going to get at Disneyland? Golf ball size hail.
Never. You might get a dust cloud though.
You truly, the Santa Ana
You
winds,
could.
like it is
Yeah.
a real thing. The fireworks get canceled because of it. But let's rein it in. Today, we are talking about good neighbor hotels. And for those of you not in the industry, what the heck is a good neighbor hotel? Katie?
I know. Good neighbor hotels are hotels near Disneyland Resort that Disney has vetted and partners with. They have to meet Disney standards for quality, service, and location. And they are recertified, I believe, yearly. Yearly, Disney has to go in and put their seal of approval on the Good Neighbor hotels to say, we approve of these and
Mm-hmm.
we would not mind our guests staying here. They
Mm-hmm.
are not owned and operated by Disney, so they don't have Disney theming or exclusive perks like early entry, but a lot of times they are more affordable and still convenient, still close to the magic.
Mm-hmm. And there's different levels of value. And we're going to get into why we recommend Good Neighbor Hotels in a second, but how a Good Neighbor Hotel works. So these, just like a Disneyland resort, they can be booked as part of a package. Well, they can only be booked as part of a package. So you book your room, you book your theme park tickets, same process of a $200 deposit, final payment due 30 days prior to arrival. We can add the Disney trip insurance onto it. Same process. So it's
Mhm.
nice, smooth, seamless, booked through Disney. You get some perks, like I think there's an exclusive pin and lanyard that you get. Um,
Nice.
yeah, let me circle, well, actually, because I have a client that just checked in and I have their um package
Travel
here.
box. Yeah.
Yes, but really quickly as a reminder, Disneyland still needs park passes
Hmm.
for their theme park tickets. Oh, why isn't this?
Yes. For
Oh,
theme park entry, you have to make a park pass reservation for Disneyland and Disney California Adventure.
yes. So you can't, well, this isn't working. So yeah, you can't just show up. You have to have a theme
Yep.
park reservation. Anyways, so there are some extra perks when you book a Disney package. And also, the hotels, if they have like promotions, they are most of the time also available on Disney's website. So when we go through, we'll see like a little green price tag. That means that they're having like fourth night free or lots of different promotions. So we do still have access to that. So you are still getting a good price. Disney also curates the hotel rooms that are available. So some of the hotels will have rooms that Disney doesn't want on the site. So
Mm-hmm.
we don't have those. And if Disney doesn't want it, there's probably a reason.
Exactly. Yeah.
I will say though, the only drawback, we'll get into pros and cons. Is it on here?
Yeah, pros and cons are on
No, but
here.
this con isn't on here. So there's not as many options that we like that accommodate bigger families.
Yes.
There are a couple, but eee.
Well, and I wanted to put that somewhere on here that not all of the Good Neighbor resorts are created equal. There are some that are on that list that I would never send to anyone.
Mhm,
You know, because our rule of thumb here at Alonzi Travel is if we won't stay there, we're not going to send it to you. Like
mhm.
that's just not how we roll. Yeah.
So why do we recommend Good Neighbor Hotels? And we'll talk about specific ones that we recommend in just a second. But why we recommend them is first of all, from a size perspective. I'm gonna start with this one because Disneyland is the original park, as many of you may know. Disneyland is the first of the Disney theme parks, and your first is always experimental, and you learn as you
Yeah.
go. So one of the things that Disney learned was we need space. So Disney has two
Mhm.
theme parks, but they have very, very limited footprint space. So they don't have a ton of real estate surrounding them. It's literally like a theme park is dropped in the middle of a suburban town. So they only have three hotels. One of those hotels actually they purchased from someone else. That wasn't even
Mhm.
their original hotel. But anyways, Disneyland only has three Disney-owned hotels. So in order to meet the demands of tourism, they don't have a choice. They have to
Yeah.
partner with Good Neighbor hotels. And we say Good Neighbor because all of the ones that we recommend are within walking distance.
Yes. Yes,
And that's
absolutely.
that's a huge difference. I feel like we've talked about this with our Disneyland episodes, but the huge difference between Disneyland and Walt Disney World is everything is very walkable. So even if your hotel is half a mile from Disneyland, you can still walk that because there's sidewalks everywhere. It's
A
clean.
beautiful walk too.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, with all the plants and the foliage, like
Hmm.
absolutely gorgeous walk through Anaheim.
Hmm.
Yep.
And there's also Anaheim Resort Transit, which is public transportation. So that does run and you can take that. But most of the time you could just walk it. So the Good Neighbor hotels,
Mhm.
they're literally neighbors. They're very close to the resorts. There's a variety of brands. I do think once we talk about our recommendations, we'll mention the ones that we really don't like and maybe some
Okay.
that influencers push that I don't agree with. So
Yeah.
stay tuned. We'll get into that. But
We'll bring the tea at the end.
yeah, why else do we recommend Good Neighbor hotels?
So, pros of Good Neighbor hotels. They are typically more budget friendly than Disney owned hotels, but that's because, like Rachel said, there's only three Disney owned properties in Anaheim. So, you're going to have a higher demand for those. So, you're going to have a higher cost. You've got more hotel styles. They've got some that are built like suites, apartments, standard rooms. I got a couple in my arsenal that have like kid suites with bunk beds and kitchenettes and all of that.
Hmm.
Which was my next point. That you might be more family friendly. We do have the rooms that do have the kitchenettes, the bunk beds, etc. And close to Disneyland. Almost everyone that I ever send out is walking distance. I tend not to send anybody one that they are going to be forced to use the
Right.
Anaheim Art regional
Mhm.
transfers.
Yeah.
And what
Well,
did you?
some more pros is some of these hotels will have breakfast included. So that's a nice pro because because Disneyland hotels don't have a meal plan. And unless you're
No.
staying concierge, you have no food included. So some of these do have breakfast included. And like Katie mentioned, some of these are suites. So if you're familiar with these brands like Hyatt House, Hyatt Place, Spring Hill, some of these have like kitchenettes in them, Residence Inn. Some of them have kitchenettes. So you can easily go to, I think there's a Target close by. You can easily go get some groceries and have food and stuff in your room, and the suites are nice because it has a little bit more space. So like I said, not they don't have as many accommodations for a party of six, but a party of five, we
Yeah.
got lots of options. But with every pro, there's a con. For me, I feel like there's two big cons. One is the no early entry. That,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that's a huge
Yeah.
con because Fantasyland is like, you got to do Fantasyland during early entry. And then
Do you
the,
remember that TikTok I posted of everyone who didn't have early entry running to
yes,
Cars Land? Yeah, a big
sad face
crowd.
for them. Yeah, like you need early entry, but
Hmm.
also, these good neighbor hotels are outside the Disney bubble. And we've talked about a couple times how nice it is to just stay within the Disney bubble, how the service translate from the parks to the resorts, and you're in this circle of Disney magic. The good neighbor hotels, they're just that, they're hotels. So it's not saying that they're bad customer service, but Disney does have a different level of customer service than standard hotels. So that is that's a bummer.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So transportation is a big con. Like we said, we strive to send everyone who asks us for a Disneyland, proposal, something that is in walking distance. But depending on your budget, you might not be able to get into walking distance. Most of the Good Neighbor resorts do not include a complimentary shuttle. I don't think any of them that I can think of off the top of my head have one.
Not off the top of my head,
So
no.
most hotels have a shuttle that you can pay for, or you can use the Anaheim Regional Transport.
Mhm.
Is it
Close
transport?
enough. Close enough.
Well, no, but I need to know what the T stands for.
Anaheim Resort Transit.
Ah, way off. I just know it's the art. I've written
It's
it,
fine.
been there, done that.
It's fine.
So, which is a low cost transportation thing, and they have a um route that is just to and from Disneyland.
Sometimes I can read where you're going with it. I didn't.
Words are hard today. Very hard today. But
Yeah,
a
so
route that goes to and from Disneyland. So you're not like on a public bus with people going to their jobs or to the store or whatever. It's a direct transfer.
yeah,
Uh,
but with that, the con is you don't necessarily know when one's going to show up. So
yeah.
sometimes it is faster to just walk, even if it's, let's say, a 20-minute walk. Sometimes it is faster. The
Hmm.
the shuttles are great. I've ridden them many times,
Yeah.
but I, especially at the end of the night, I'm impatient and I don't want to sit there and wait for the bus. When's the bus going to be here? I'm just like, I'm just going to walk or Uber. I'll get an $8 Uber.
Oh, yeah. Well, like when we had gone and we were touring different Good Neighbor resorts and we wanted to ride the art just to experience it. And I think we left from the Westin. We
Mm.
could have walked back. We could have walked back so much faster than, what it took to ride the shuttle.
One
Do you
pro
remember?
I forgot to mention was some of these are branded hotels. So if you have like Hilton points or Marriott points, you can earn and or use them. Now, we cannot redeem your points for you, but we can still help with your vacation with tickets and things like that. But because there's lots of brands out there. If you have a brand loyalty like me, Hilton and Hyatt are the two that I like to do. But
Marriott.
there's Marriott. Yeah, you can one of them. There's a Marriott that we recommend. So you can use and or earn points at these locations. Um, so some of our favorites. Okay. I've been
You
to
gonna
most.
start with the Westin? You
Yeah,
love the
I've stayed at most of
Westin.
these. So, truly now, and this shocks me because I am a notorious Marriott hater. Okay, I hate the Marriott. It's not. Look, everybody aligns with a brand. I don't align.
I like Marriott.
The reason I don't like Marriott is twofold. One, first of all, go Cougs, Hilton College. Anyways, but every time when I would travel and when I was younger, every time I stayed at a Marriott property, they would mess something up with my reservation. And I'm tired of it. So
I've
they're on
never had
my
that experience.
I'm telling you, I used to travel every other week for work every
Hmm.
time. So they're on my bad list. But This Westin I love. Um, the 10-minute walk is not true. It's definitely like a 15 or 20-minute walk.
Yeah.
Whoever said it was a 10-minute walk was lying.
Well, wait a minute. I have walked from Pixar Place to the Westin, and I want to say it was like 7 minutes.
From Pixar Place.
Yeah.
I'm talking about to the parks.
Yeah. I mean, okay. You think it's 20?
I know it's 20. I did it.
Okay.
But I mean, you could probably do it in 10 if you're power walking, purpose walking.
Mm-mm.
But if you're just like, it's a nice day. Let's
Jocelyn.
have a stroll. So let's say in between, let's say 15. Let's meet in the middle. Let's say 15
Okay,
minutes.
15.
But
15.
the Westin bed's like literally that it's a heavenly bed. Like I slept in that bed and I told my friend, I'm like, I really hate to say this, but this is like the best bed I've ever slept in.
Have you ever checked out of a hotel and then tried to find the beds that they use? Because I have.
No, but the Westin does sell their entire bed collection from the mattress to the sheets to the pillows. They sell it
Good to know.
because it's
Good to
trademarked.
know.
Yeah. Um, so I really like the Westin. My only gripe was the bathroom wasn't ideal in that
Mhm.
the shower and the sink and the toilet were all kind of in the same thing. I think the toilet had its own door, but like you couldn't, we have this gripe. We couldn't get ready as
Yeah, there's only one space for getting ready. It doesn't have the partitions and yeah.
Yeah, but the bed was really nice. They have great dining. They have a very awesome rooftop bar, which looks right at the Incredicoaster. Um, and it is a really good value. There are so many times where it comes in maybe a couple hundred, if that, more than the next one on our list, which
Yeah.
is shocking to me. And it's always, well, 90% of the time better price than a Disney hotel.
Mhm.
So this one
Mhm.
is my number one current just because it's an amazing value and the beds.
So nice.
Yes.
And it's bougie. It's bougie. It's got, I mean, it's not over the top bougie. We're not talking the Four Seasons here, but it's more,
Yeah, it's classy.
yeah, agreed.
You go in there,
Agreed.
you know it's clean.
All right,
Yeah.
the next one, Spring Hill Suites, Anaheim. Spring Hill Suites Anaheim is a family-friendly hotel offering spacious suites with separate living areas, a rooftop pool with views of Disneyland, free breakfast, and a convenient location about 10 to 15 minutes. I'd say more on the 15-minute side here, wouldn't
Well,
you?
it's like 3 minutes closer than the Westin because it's on the same street, but the Westin
Mhm.
is at the corner of Harbor and
Mhm.
Ball, I think.
Yeah,
So it's a little bit closer than
about
the Westin.
three. Yeah, it's about 3 more minutes the other way.
Yeah.
So it's a popular in pick for families looking for a little bit of extra room. And this is a good family one. Great family pick right here.
There's a great one. The free breakfast, like we mentioned. Also, fun random fact, it's look connected to a CVS. Boo CVS. Don't get me started on CVS. There's a
I mean,
Walgreens across the street.
nobody likes CVS, but it's handy to have something like that if you need to run in to grab some kind of sundry, toiletry, something like that. You
And if
know.
you hate CVS, literally across the street is a Walgreens.
Yeah.
So I will cross the street to go to Walgreens because I hate CVS. But
I did
it's
I
nice.
didn't know you were anti CVS. I'm anti both of them.
I mean, yeah, I'm anti both of them, but CVS has done
Yeah.
me dirty way too many times. So anti
With the
CVS.
pharmacy aspect of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but now I just like don't want to go in there at all because they made me so mad. But they have, if you want bottles of water for your room, if you catch a cold, which I did, and you need some medicine, like it's really nice that again it's within walking distance and it's right by your hotel, which is really great. Yeah. The other one, you want to do the next one too, since you're the Marriott
Yeah.
person?
Yeah, because this is my favorite. Like this is my number one that my clients book.
Okay.
Fairfield Inn by Marriott Anaheim Resort. It's one of the closest good neighbor hotels to Disneyland. It's literally across the street from the main entrance to both parks. It's got comfortable family rooms. Now, these rooms actually, if you go for the deluxe rooms, they do have Disney theming in them.
They do.
They have some beautiful Disney like murals on the wall. Not over the top. They're real tasteful. Um, On-site Panera, Disney themed touches. It's perfect for families who want to maximize their park time without breaking the bank. And that's why it's my client's number one. Like this is I send it to almost every single client, and it is definitely my top booked Good Neighbor hotel.
Yeah, I think the Spring Hill is my top booked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the next one, the Hilton Anaheim. So the Hilton is the signature Hilton brand. It is not connected, but right in front of the Anaheim Convention Center. So if you're going for like D23's semi-annual, biannual, which is the one that's every other year. Anyways, D23 convention, it's the one
Yeah.
right in front of it. So it is like it's a little bit, I would say it's like in the same spot as the Westin, just on a different street. So the
Yeah.
Westin and the Anaheim, the Hilton have the same walking, so like tw 15 to 20 minutes. This was, in all honesty, off my list for about a
Why?
year because the rooms were not being well taken care of. However,
Uh,
they did just do an extensive refresh. So it is back on my list because these are spacious rooms. They have a Starbucks inside the hotel. It's got lots of rooms. It has the classic amenities that you'd find in a Hilton, like a fitness center, a
mm,
pool, on-site restaurants. But with the refresh, it is really nice. So I like this one, and it is sometimes cheaper than the Spring Hill.
mm,
So
mhm.
like, all these things that we pay attention to, pricing is one of them. Like I'm not gonna you'll notice we are not gonna talk about the JW because it's further away. It's a higher price point. It still comes in less than Disneyland hotels, but like it's further away and it's a higher price. So
I'm I'm personally I'm not going to stay more than half a mile away from the park entrance. Like that's my goal for me. That's my goal for my clients if we can make it work.
yeah, and all of these are. The other one
Yeah.
that we really like and they love working with, they love being a partner of Disney is the Hyatt House. We actually had our agent conference there and they were so
So
nice, gave
nice.
us an independent tour of it. I love the Hyatt House because their breakfast is very good, but their rooms are very spacious. Do you want to give us more
Mhm.
info on the rooms?
Hyatt House Anaheim is known for its spacious residential style rooms with kitchenettes, perfect for families or longer stays. It's about a 10-minute walk from Disneyland. 15. I'm gonna tell you.
10 to 15.
ChatGPT did not do good with the distance because we've both been here. This is a good 15 minutes from Disneyland. Offers free breakfast and a rooftop pool, making it a comfortable, convenient home base for your Disney adventure. And I think there was a Starbucks in there.
So it's the Starbucks is on the front, and then the
Hmm.
Walgreens is at the end of the block. So it's like the
Yeah.
Walgreens, and then I think there's a pizza place, and then it's the Hyatt House. So it's just like on the opposite side of the street than the Spring Hill. So if you guys can't tell, like there's a corner of Disneyland that I like. There's closer hotels, but let's talk about those. So you'll
Oh,
notice we
we're
didn't
going to
talk
talk
about the
about.
Hojo, the Howard Johnson. We didn't talk about the Grand Legacy at the park.
I have mixed feelings about the Hojo.
So the problem with the Howard Johnson is that you have to book a specific room type to
That's
get
that's
the
what it is.
Instagram ones, but also it's a Howard Johnson. I need you guys to understand something right now. Howard Johnson is Motel 6. And that's
Yes.
the level of amenities, the quality
Hmm.
of the linens and the towels, the soap and lotion. That's the quality that you're going to get. Like that, it doesn't matter where your Howard Johnson is. That's their level of expectation. So even though the room looks cute and like it could be Cabana Bay, the towels are scratchy paper
Well,
thin and are going to exfoliate you when you don't want to be exfoliated.
so, and the amount of people that come into my TikTok live and say that they were so upset with their Howard Johnson because they did not book that deluxe category room.
Hmm.
The regular standard room does not look like any of the things that
No,
you're going to see on those TikTok videos.
no.
It doesn't. Now, the deluxe room is not much more expensive. So, like,
I mean,
if you have to stay at the Howard Johnson, you better book that room,
but the Howard
right?
Johnson is not cheaper than basically any of the options that we are talking about. It's more expensive than the Hyatt House, the Fairfield, the Hilton. It's more expensive than those.
It normally, when I pull a proposal, Fairfield and Howard Johnson, if Fairfield is not booked up, that's the thing. It books
Mhm.
up quickly because it is such a great option. They're usually right at the same price for that deluxe room.
Yeah, because they're kind of in the same location. And Howard
They're
Johnson
across the
does
street.
have a great water park. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. But y'all, it's a Howard Johnson. Can we please just I've booked a client there one time and they came back and that's what they said. Like it's also there's lots of cleanliness things that bother me.
Yeah.
The
Can we?
influencers are paid to be there. And if they're not
Hmm.
paid to be there, they're paying like $50 a night. So of course they're going to get on here and tell you how great it is because they are getting gigantic benefits. We are not paid to tell you anything. We are paid to make you have a, we're not, I mean, we're not paid. We want you to have a good time.
It goes back to our episode
The
last
last
week
episode.
where we talked about travel agent myths. We are not pushing specific brands and hotels over others, except for our real life experience, like what we have experienced for ourselves, what clients have come back and told us. And if clients are coming back and telling us that they're not happy with something, then we're going to not send it to you. Like,
The other one that's pushed a lot is Grand Legacy at the park. And I'm not going to lie, the location, you cannot have a better location. It's right
mhm,
at the crosswalk to get to Disneyland. So
mhm.
the only hotel that's closer is the Grand Californian. That is the only hotel that's closer. And they have a great rooftop restaurant and bar. They do. But the rooms are gross. If I if I see a hotel that is still using not white bed sheets as like if it's a colored bedspread, immediately I know your cleanliness standards are not where they need to be.
Castle Inn,
Immediately.
Castle Inn.
Castle Inn, the,
I've had a client at Castle Inn because they requested it. I
Mhm.
sent my normal go-tos and they came back and they said, I found this price at Castle. What do you think about it? And I was like, it's not one I sent. I was like, and they reported back. They're like, it was okay. They're like major Motel 6 vibes.
Mhm.
But the Castle Inn, the everything's dark. The carpet is dark, the
Mhm.
bedding is dark, everything in that room is dark.
Yeah, I
No.
had a kind of similar client ask about the Anaheim Hotel, which is a
Mm-hmm.
non-branded value Motel 6 style. And that's what she says. She says it was fine. It was worth
Fine.
the maybe worth the price paid. Like if she
Mm-hmm.
had a little bit more in her budget, she would have rather stay somewhere else. But
Exactly.
that's where we set expectations of like, well, if we also work within your budget. And like sometimes it just blows my mind like why people pick a certain hotel over something that's maybe like $100 more. But if
Mm-hmm.
you are very, very strict and want to spend as little as possible, I understand that. But sometimes that $100 is just gonna elevate your experience because I something I get asked in my TikToks a lot is, well, you're just sleeping there. You are right. You are just
Yeah.
sleeping there. But are you getting a good night's sleep?
Oh,
Because if you're not, then you wake up with a deficit the next day, and that just keeps building and building and building. So if your bed is uncomfortable, if
you're
you
worried about things crawling on you.
you're worried about things crawling
Ooh.
on you, you're worried about mold in the air conditioning,
Oh gosh, yeah.
like, and you get
You get
sick.
the sniffles.
No, that happens
Oh,
to me. That's why I can't stay in a lot of these hotels because if they have
mhm.
that in window AC unit, I know I'm going to get a sinus infection, so I can't stay there. So, like, yes, you are just sleeping there. You're
Mm.
correct. But if it's a bad night's sleep, and
Yeah.
there's a couple other hotels I think that are not on this list that I like, but these are the ones that I think both of us, because is there anything that you recommend that is not on here?
No, no, because when I asked you last week, and these are the ones I was like, yeah. I have had some people go to Cambria. I've had very,
Mm,
very large families. I know it's far away. It's not the best, but like if you need something that's going to sleep a party of seven or eight, like it works,
yeah.
they're just, I hate planning. Like, I love hate planning for big parties, for big families, because it's so difficult. And I know if you're a mom and you're watching this right now, you're probably like, yeah, it is. Because it's so hard to find y'all somewhere nice that sleeps everybody. So
Hmm.
I have
Yeah,
had a
if you
couple
don't
of
want two
good,
rooms, yeah.
if you don't want two rooms, I've had some good feedback from Cambria because of that reason, because
Mhm.
they could sleep all of their children.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, this is the list I stick to. I don't far go far from it.
So I feel like that kind of just explains why you should book Disneyland with a travel agent, let alone one of us, because like we have spent time putting our hands on the product. Like I said, we were at
Mhm.
Disneyland last year. That is what we did. We went to these hotels so we could go in, inspect them for ourselves, look at the rooms, decide. And I had you guys go all over the place too, so you could kind of see
We
the
did.
ones that I don't like and the ones that I do like. So you can make your own opinions. And it's just funny that we've kind of, you and I have come to like, it's not funny, it's ironic that we both have like
Well,
the same.
because I'm gonna tell you right now, when I first started doing this, I knew all kinds of stuff about Walt Disney World. Disneyland was a foreign concept to me. I had never been. I didn't know where to start. I would have enjoyed this podcast when I first started because I was like, a good neighbor, what is that? And
Hmm.
so like I had to do a ton of independent research, on these because I started booking Disneyland before we ever went. And so yeah, I mean the list is a list. I
Well, and
think
like
it's
like we said, the influencers that are they're paid to talk about these hotels, but that doesn't mean it's a good hotel. And it's really hard these days to separate fake from genuine
well,
reviews.
and I also think that there is such a clickbaity thing of we stayed at the cheapest hotel at da 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 da. I'm sorry, I turned 40 in just a couple months, and I no longer want the cheapest experience. I what's that TikTok sound that from
Oh,
the
I'm not
Lotus?
meant to live a
A
difficult life
comfortable
or
life.
something. Yeah.
Yes, like that's how I feel now. And I think there's a lot of things that when you think of these influencers, first of all, unless you're watching like a mom influencer, they're all young, they're in their 20s. Let me tell you, when I was that young, it did not matter where we stayed, but I
Yeah.
am a mother. I have back pain and I have kids that I need to keep safe. So like
Yeah.
your mindset changes so much.
Well, and that's what we do as travel agents. Like we take into account what your budget is, number one. We are not going to recommend a hotel that's not within your budget. Number two, we're going to have talked to you, kind of have an idea of what you're looking for, also your party size, all that stuff. We're going to take all that into consideration and give you recommendations. And I mean, maybe the Howard Johnson is a good fit for you, but it may be not. But we'll give you the options and we'll talk to you about them. So if you have questions, why do you think I should stay here and not here? We'll talk to you about them and give you our unbiased opinion because we're not paid by these hotels to promote them. And even if we
Not
were,
at all.
I cannot lie about hotels. It's in my every fiber of my being. I cannot lie about them.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
like I'll
Yeah.
get an email back. What do you think about this one we found? I'm like, oh, brother, oh, like I can't,
Yeah. It'll be
can't
like,
do
well,
it.
if you like it,
Yeah,
I might not stay there, but
it's your
still,
baby.
like we've said, we've had a couple of clients that have stayed at hotels that we don't necessarily recommend because they've asked them, and then we just set that expectation. Like, well, this is what I've heard about this hotel. If you want to stay there, fantastic. We will absolutely set that up. Just want to set some expectations about it so that you're prepared. And that, I mean, that's one of the big differences of working travel agents. Not just making sure your park passes are booked and you're dining and
Hmm.
you're at Disneyland and not Walt Disney World. I can't, I've seen several TikToks now where people are like, they bought tickets to Disneyland and showed up at Walt Disney World and vice versa. And I'm like, how do you,
It's all the time, all the time.
so
Mm.
stress free is the moral of the story with booking with Alonzi Travel, right? Do you have anything
That's
to add
us.
to that?
No, I think we summed it up pretty well.
Yeah, so
Um,
at Disneyland, I frequently stay good neighbor just because sometimes it's easier and also market research. I want to make sure I'm still recommending properties that I like for you guys. But they're fine. They're totally fine, especially since they're within walking distance. If they
Hmm.
weren't, I feel like we'd have a different take on it. But because a lot of hotels you can easily get to and from Disneyland, Good Neighbor hotels
Mhm.
are definitely a great option, especially if you have a tight budget. I can't tell you how many times I've sent proposals over and people are like, "Oh, that's all?"
Yeah. Well, and I think this was in the show notes, but we skipped it. We only recommend Good Neighbor for Anaheim. You are never going to hear me say you need to stay at a Good Neighbor resort in Orlando
Oh, yeah, never.
because they're not close to anything.
No.
They are not close to anything except for maybe Disney Springs. And that's a whole different thing. But I just wanted to make sure that we were clear that Good Neighbors are only for Anaheim because we only have three options
Hmm.
if we were not using Good Neighbors. At Walt
Hmm.
Disney World, we've got over 20, every budget, every taste, everything. So,
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good ending point. Like at Disneyland, the we would not be making this episode if we didn't think it was
mhm.
worth mentioning to you guys and worth looking into. So when you're ready to book your next Disneyland vacation, hit us up. Our details are in the show notes, and we'll make sure you have a magical trip to Disneyland. Until next time, bye.
Bye.